Morning YouTube. If there's one thing bees need, it's food or forage. We have an orchard here, but one of the things we're trying to do is expand our orchard. That can get kind of expensive. Fruit trees can get 10, 15, 20 or more dollars a piece. And with the number of fruit trees I really want to have, that's going to get kind of costly. So one of the things we've been trying to do is to propagate our own. We tried to do some in the spring, and I knew it was the wrong time of year to do it, but I tried it anyway, and I was right, it didn't work. So now we're going to do it at the proper time, which is in the fall, where we're going to take some cuttings and we're going to go ahead and put them in some rooting compound and put them in the dirt and keep them moist through the winter. And those should, hopefully, take root, and we should be able to expand our orchard significantly. So I've already had my cup of coffee, so let's get ready and go. Alright, and what we're going to do is all of these are those shooters, suckers rather, that come up there from the bottom. This is a nectarine tree. We tried making some root cuttings of these in the spring, and we did it knowing that we really should have done it in the fall, but we didn't. So, well, it's fall. So now we're going to go ahead and take some of these, and I'm basically just going to stick them in some rooting compound and stick them all in a big, it's like a, I don't know, 10-gallon pot, whatever that thing is. It's a big old huge pot. And then come springtime, we'll see if we have any of them that make it. Obviously, all of these things down here, I'll come back out here and clean all that up later. But I'm taking these off of, this is the nectarine tree, and we're doing the same thing on the peach tree. We already got some cuttings off of there. So, all right, and here we've got a couple of those pots I'm going to use. I'm just going to put them, like I said, in some rooting compound and stick a whole bunch of them in there and see if they don't take. This is that forsythia we did this method with, and I did this actually in the spring, and you can see it pretty well took off. So I'm going to end up taking these guys out of here and potting them individually over here, and then I'm going to put more forsythia down in here to go ahead and propagate those. But we tried putting some pear cuttings in this one, and once again we tried it in the spring. It was one of those, we thought about doing it too late, but we tried it anyway, and you can see it did not take. No roots at all. It just kind of died, but I guess I kind of expected that because it had gotten pretty warm. So we're hoping that over the winter these guys will take root, and we can separate those out. Just to show you, this is one of these forsythia I just took out of here. Took it out just to show you that this method will actually work when you do it at the right time of year. It's got a lot of root on it. I'm gonna go ahead and pot this real quick. I pulled it out kind of to check on it, number one, and to show y'all too. So I'm gonna go ahead and pot this up in a smaller pot here. All right, what we're going to do is try to get these things wet. And you basically kind of want to just shove them in there, shake off some of the excess. We're just going to kind of poke them down in there. And this goes pretty quickly, really. You can go ahead and soak all of them so that they're in there. And you're going to want to soak them anyways. If you take them out and they're going to be out for any length of time, you want to make sure you go ahead and put those in water. So you just kind of shake that off of there, and boom. There doesn't really have to be any great measuring or anything like that. Just dunk it in and stick it in. And once these things look like they've taken root in the spring, we'll want to go ahead and separate them out. Some of these are bigger. I'm not sure if they'll take or not. I'm kind of doing a little experiment with those. I'm curious if they take. Then I guess I'm wondering if I actually start out with a better plant or not. You can see this was just a few minutes worth of pruning that tree. And then you'll just want to make sure it stays damp. Here in the fall, it pretty much stays damp most of the time. If not, just give it a little spray of water every day. Keep that soil moist. You do want to pay attention to make sure that the up side of the tree is actually going up. So pay attention to the buds, and when you cut it, you can cut it with, didn't get dirt. If you cut it with an angle on the bottom kind of thing, then you can kind of keep track of that a little bit. And those are the peach trees. So we're going to do the same thing on this next pot here with the nectarines. Alright, one other thing, we're going to start the nectarines now. You can kind of scrape the bottom of these and stick them in. That kind of just gives a little more space for roots to kind of form there. But you can see, even taking a second to do that, oops, I did that out of order. Still a quick process. And while it may not be 100%, you know, if a few of them take, then, well, it was worth the effort. That one's upside down. There are some ways you can do this. In fact, you can do it without rooting compound at all. I understand you just have a little better chance of it taking, and there are some other ways, like willow bark or something like that. You make an extract out of that. I've not tried it, I've just read about it. So, oops. And this is the last one of these. There you go. So, like I said, if even some of those take, then that's a good thing. If a bunch of them take, that's a really good thing. So let me get this stuff set up, and I'm going to show you one more thing I want to do. Okay, and you can see this one. These are some really big ones. If you zoom out a little bit, show how big these are. This is more just an experiment. I'm curious if they'll take or not. So like I said, I'm not really expecting them to go, but at the same time, if they root up well and grow a good solid plant a little bit faster, then I'm a happy customer. So I figure I've got these anyway. I might as well just, it's not costing me anything but that little bit of rooting compound there. You can stick a few of them in there and look and see. So we'll have to look and see whether those work or not. Like I said, you want to go ahead and water them in. It's supposed to get rain tomorrow, and the next day, 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 it seems. If you know how the weathermen are, they're not always correct. We're going to go and water those in, water this other one in. And that's about all there is to it. So hopefully these guys all take off, and we have a whole bunch of new fruit trees to put out in the spring. So thanks for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. Any questions or comments, please comment below. Y'all take care.